Good morning, everybody. And
Good
we
morning.
are having not only daylight savings time, but our brand new agenda. So make sure you have it up. And I will then segue our meeting over to our president, Rosalind Carter.
Thank you, Werner. All right, everyone. Good morning. Isn't it still a little dark outside because of the daylight savings time change? But I think this is probably the last time we'll be dealing with daylight saving time adjustments, according to government maybe making a change on that. But we'll see what happens. Now, what's going on today? We have introduced a new rotation of our agendas. And today we're having our first business challenge offered by one of our members that will be for 5 minutes, and then a 10-minute open discussion from the audience to help them resolve their business challenge. So welcome to our guests, new members, and members of this outstanding Entrepreneur Toastmasters Club. I will ask Bond if he'd like to share a word about the new flyer that he created on our club website. Bond, would you like to take a minute to explain that?
Oh, thank you, Madam President. I'm caught off guard. Well, yeah, I think you just said that clear. We will have the new format of our agenda, which is, we call that the meeting objective rotation. I think the idea originated initially from Randy Power. Hey, Randy Power, thank you so much for this brilliant idea. I quickly share that
the flyer.
Bear with me, quickly share my screen.
Yep, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, basically what we do is, instead of a fixed agenda, which most clubs are using, with all the same, the meeting flow or meeting structure, we want to change our theme or even the structure of the meeting, which is around our objective of our club, which is we help our members improve the entrepreneurship, because in the end of the day, our club is an entrepreneur Toastmasters club. So what we do is the first, this is a wrong flyer. Sorry, I haven't gotten the new one, but basically the ideas are the same. The first Wednesday, not first week, first Wednesday of the month, we give a regular meeting, which we want to dedicate it to our Pathways speeches to help our members either gain the credit or gain the credit for our club for the DCP program. So we encourage our members or guests to come over to give the Pathways speeches. That agenda will be the same as we used in the past. But since the third week or fifth week, if that is available, we will use our new objective, which is around the club core value, the entrepreneurship. So third Wednesday of the week, we will, like Madam President just brought up, we will bring up some business challenges, either the group or either the individual is faced with, and we will invite either our members, our seasoned entrepreneurs, seasoned coach, whoever that is, to bring some ideas. And we initially want to run 2 rounds if that time allows. And then we go down to regular session. So we still have some regular session for this business challenge and the brainstorm. We still have some one speaker or 2, and we have table topics. This is the interesting part. Now we want to expand our meeting objective to the 3rd one, which is the 5th week. Throughout the year, I think we have 2 or 3 times opportunities to have the 5th week, 5th Wednesday of the month. We will conduct the mastermind. We do have a few individuals in our club who are really masters for this kind of session to bring us to some new level of motivation or of public speaking leadership. We will invite them, or maybe beyond our club, to come over, conduct this session mastermind. That will be a 40 minutes session. I'm not sure that details, because I'm really, this is beyond my knowledge about mastermind, but I do believe we have some members who will come over to lead this 40 minutes session. That will be the 5th Wednesday of the month. With that, we will rotate these objectives throughout the next round. I think that basically we have come up the idea that involves a lot of work and lots of the preparation. I hope we will get through that in the future. So your participation and feedback will be really appreciated to help us to hone and to fill up the details, how we can do that better to better serve our members. With that said, back to you, Ross.
Thank you, Bond. And thanks for making a beautiful flyer so that we can promote this about our club. What we have now is today's program. And let me introduce our Toastmaster of the day. Tomi Daniel is a realist, an optimist with a passion for helping others dare to do more. She loves to inspire through a focus on the 4 Ps of Proverbs, purpose, productivity, and partnerships. Recently, she started a weekly blog titled Proverbs on Blast and an e-commerce business named Just Proverbs. In a previous life, Tomi practiced law, mobilized communities in various international development projects, and crisscrossed borders to provide training for college students and young professional groups. She remains actively engaged in several communities, serving organizations in volunteer, administrative, governance, and advisory roles. She also continues to mentor an international network of women and young professionals in 12 countries. She derives intense fulfillment from facilitating new partnerships between individuals and organizations who are then able to collaborate on resources and opportunities that help them thrive. As a lifelong learner, she loves to learn new things. Currently, when she is not buried in research for her graduate studies, she has her hands full with updating her Proverbs blog and e-commerce business. In her spare time, if there's any, she enjoys reading, writing, gardening, and participating in her faith community. Her theme today is taking stock. Please welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Tomi Daniel.
Good morning, Toastmasters and guests. How many of you have had your coffee this morning?
Mm-hmm.
How many of you are in need of your coffee this morning? All right. If this were to be a regular club, I would have played you Pharrell Williams' song, Happy. After this meeting, get a fix from that song. Just play it on loop because you're happy. I am excited to be your Toastmaster this morning. It is March 15, just in case you have not noticed. If this club were to be a for-profit company and you were to be a shareholder in it, you would be looking forward to the end of quarter report and earnings, right? That's not who we are. But who we are is a collection of businesses and business owners who have a lot to think about, to take stock of. January 4 was our first meeting at this club, and we talked about entrepreneurial resolutions. We made a lot of them. How many have you kept? How far have you come? It's always good to do a review of the past and a preview of the future. Identify gaps and constantly close the gaps. And so today we're going to start doing a little bit of that. I hope you will continue when you get back to your offices or your rooms till the end of the month. It's always good to take stock, but we have an amazing opportunity this March as we round up the first quarter of the year to see how far we've come and to see how far we still need to go. So welcome again to the meeting. That's the background of our theme. And today we would be focusing on challenges, brainstorming a challenge that we're facing. April will keep us off on that. She would talk about hers, but I hope in listening to her, you would also think about the challenges you are facing. Now, anytime we talk about challenges or think about challenges, that's a heavy stuff. And it's always good to preface that with gratitude for what we have, not only a focus on what we don't or what we're struggling with. So I want you to do a little bit of affirmation with me, gratitude affirmation. Say to yourself, wherever you are, you don't have to say it out loud, but I want you to repeat to yourself, I am grateful for being alive. I am grateful for this club. And I am grateful for my business or my business ideas. I am grateful for how far I have come and how far I am going. Give yourself a round of applause. Always start the day with gratitude. It pumps you up, it primes you for what lies ahead. All right, so I will invite Juana Contara. He is our timer for today. That is one of the most important roles in our Toastmasters meeting. Please tell us your role, what you'll be doing, and how you will be doing it.
Good morning, everyone. As timer, I am going to be timing, of course. And as this is an advanced group, we well know we have to keep in queue with our times, especially during the contest season we have right now. For the speakers, it will be as posted in the agenda. For table topics, I will be doing 1 to 2 minutes, having a green screen at 1 minute. And at 1.5, it will be yellow. And at 2 minutes, it will be red. And that will give you another 30 seconds to go. I will be having my virtual hand up in order for everybody to be able to see my screen. That's not meaning that I want attention. It will just be for convenience of everybody being able to see stuff. If there are any special times you would like, please put it in chat and I will respond there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we would move on swiftly to our first speaker. Our first speaker this morning is April Gillis. She is a recent graduate of the It's Your Time Business Acceleration Startup Program through the Inland Empire Women's Business Center, which is also through Cal State San Bernardino's School of Business. Today, she will present on her startup business, We Have People for That, which is a business she has recently launched through the completion of the It's Your Time program. Her speech title is Subscribe for Consistency, and she would be speaking for 5 minutes. Subscribe for Consistency, April Gillis.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tomi. My name is April Gillis, and as Tomi shared, I am the startup CEO of We Have People for That. We believe in working as unto God, not as unto man. He birthed this vision in me years ago, and it's through the It's Your Time program that this business has come to fruition. I tried to run from it, and Ernie Silvers was kind enough to share the E-Myth book with me, and he talks about some people have an entrepreneurial seizure. Well, this is a seizure that wouldn't go away. We Have People for That. We are a startup company that consults service-based solopreneurs. That's who we are. What do we offer? We offer solopreneurs the opportunity to collapse their timeframes by gaining greater efficiency and effectiveness in their business through consulting sessions. I know that this works because I've tested the market. It came from recognizing a gap in the marketplace. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies, nonprofit organizations, faith-based organizations, solopreneurs of service-based businesses, product-based businesses over the years. Sometimes as part of my job, sometimes just had a curiosity because I just couldn't shake the feeling of wondering what would happen if we took some time, we talked through the problems ahead of time, and then we implemented their planning. What I found time and time again was that at Fortune 500 companies, they have plenty of advisors who sit around the table. They have the best of the best minds that they've recruited from all over the country to sit and talk through their problems, to see where the gaps are, and to come up with strategies in order to ensure that they meet their bottom lines, that they hit their objectives, especially if it was a publicly traded company. They needed to make sure that they met the goals for their external customer. They had to think about their stock price. They had so many other things to think about. When we started to work with solopreneurs, we noticed they were no different. They faced similar challenges. There was a gap. They didn't have access to the same minds. They didn't have access to the same number of resources. And the thing is, they didn't even know it. I couldn't believe it. The things that I was seeing, could it be true? So time and time again, I'll give you an example of one business that I was able to work with. They were in the E-Myth, what they talk about, a technician. They were amazing at their job. But now, striking off on their own, after having been a part of several companies that shut down, he decided to go out on his own and to strike out on his own. Well, there's a difference between being the technician, you know your skill, and building a system around it. I was able to partner with that business owner. And over the last 5 years, some of the systems we put in place from the beginning, by sitting down and talking about it, collapsed his timeframes. And 5 to 6 years later, he's continued to expand. So again, we're here launching We Have People for That, because through the It's Your Time program, we were able to put pen to paper to really look at the feasibility of this idea and expanding access to corporate level consulting and strategy at the solopreneur level. The business challenge that we'd like to talk about and present today is the concept of subscribing for consistency. We would like to consider and help you help us consider the pros and drawbacks of adding a subscription-based payment model to our offerings. Currently, we have several offerings. We have where solopreneurs can start off with an hourly rate, or we have short-term packages that they can purchase. When we are looking at some of the challenges of solopreneurs and some businesses, sometimes they don't know that they need this service. Sometimes they don't know how to add it in to their cost. What if we start off with a subscribe for consistency? If they had a predictable cost on a monthly basis that they paid and had access to consistent consulting and strategy to help collapse timeframes, think through their ideas, to work on their business and not get stuck in their business, what would that look like for those solopreneurs of service-based businesses? So our question to you again today is, we would like for you to help us to think about the pros and drawbacks of adding a subscription-based business to better help and serve solopreneurs so they can add consistency to their cost, as well as leverage the consistency of consulting and working on their business with experts versus only running for help when they run into problems. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, April. Thank you. We have people for that. And the next round, we have people to give you feedback and ask further questions and comment on how you can continue to grow WE. And so the floor is open. I see one. Okay. Werner, your hand is up. Is this in relation to your role or?
For the timer, I believe.
Okay. All right. So the floor is open. We would take a few comments and suggestions. And okay, I see Charles, I see Rosabelle. I'll start with Charles.
April, I really appreciated the amount of information that you shared with us this morning. One of the things that you will hear from me consistently, and it goes across the board with a lot of people, is I think you could improve on voice inflection. Since I do training on a daily basis using PowerPoints, I would think that leaving one up the whole time could be a distraction because people could be drawn to that and away from you. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Rosabelle?
Yes, thank you. My comment, the speech was well delivered. My comment was more of an answer to the challenge, as I understood it, is that you're offering one of your products to be a subscription-based payment model to the consulting service. So not just saying, I'm here, come ask me a question, but saying, I'm offering you every month to, mentor you or whatever you would call it, through the first 1 month or 3 months or 6 months. And I think that is a good idea, especially for startups. Somebody who, well, maybe even a startup, one way to even push that further would be like, say, the first hour free or the first 3 hours free, because at this point you probably don't have references if you're just starting. If you have references, of course, before committing to a month or 3 months or 6 months, most prospective clients on that type of consulting service business are going to ask for references. But if you were to offer 1 hour, first hour free, 3 hours free, that might give you that extra push for them to want to subscribe for a few months.
Thank you, Rosabelle.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any more comments, suggestions, questions?
Susan has her hand up.
Susan, yes. Susan, can you hear us? Okay.
Yes, hi, good morning. I was having some audio and video lighting issues. First of all, I want to say I was also a graduate of IYT, which is it's your time, and in order to get through that program, one has to go through a bunch or a series of classes and fulfill some requirements to consider oneself to be a graduate. So congratulations on getting through that program. It can be a challenge, especially they just throw you into the program and get started, right? And oftentimes there's not a lot of guidance. So I like the PowerPoint. It was a lot of information, but I really enjoyed how you introduced some information, and it reminded me of why I am not considered a technician. And I liked how you brought that up from the book, ebook or eMyth, that one who is a technician is not necessarily a good boss. So I realized why I keep getting fired from my jobs because I could be a good technician, but not as good as others. So thank you. I really enjoyed that. The PowerPoint, I felt like it was too much. I really wanted to see more of your face and more of your reaction and just sort of connecting with the audience. But overall, I thought you were a really good speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I see Mariatu and Bond's hand up. All right.
And Randy.
And Randy. Okay. All right. Let's keep this rolling. Mariatu, let's start with you.
Congratulations, April. From graduated from the IYT program. I graduated from that program in 2015. My business is still here several years later, so congratulations. One of your challenges definitely is something that I myself have experienced here. I've been debating about having a subscription here in my salon myself. So one of the ideas that I was brainstorming with my accountants was us creating a survey and asking the clients what they would want to see, if they would like a membership or not. So right now I am working on a survey to start asking my clients if that's something they might want to see in the salon. So maybe that's another route to go, asking people around you to see what works. Another thing is the eMyth book. I've taught that book, so I know exactly when it came up, the technician, the entrepreneur, I'm all three of those right now. Even though I still have employees, I still, I'm very involved in my business. So I'm one of those entrepreneurs that is the manager and the technician but one thing for sure I will tell you is that for your memberships subscription is to get the input of your clients and see if they are wanting to do a subscription, if it's something that will be beneficial to them. I love your presentation. I wish there was more visual instead of writing, because the writing is really difficult sometimes. I would prefer to see pictures or something like that. Some people are visual people. But other than that, you did a great job. Congratulations again on graduating from the IYT program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Randy, we'll take your comment.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So I noticed that the real question is centered on the challenge. So I'm going to speak to the challenge real quickly, and then I'm going to add something in there just as a food for thought. When you talk about a membership or a subscription, you might think about basic services that you're going to offer in that package or in that subscription. I wouldn't say we'll get everything that we offer in this period of time as a subscription, because that's your low end. That's your entry level, like your lead generation package. That's the very minimum that somebody might need in order to move up a level or have some experience with you or build that relationship with you. So as an example, that might be your $99 a month package as a subscription, just to be a part of our organization. And then you get certain services, like you can call us 3 times a month with a question or whatever it might be. So you might distinguish the subscription service from your short-term packages and your hourly rates and that sort of thing. Also, as a food for thought, don't ever use the word cost with a potential client or anybody you're offering services to. It is an investment in their company. It is an investment in themselves. If you use the word cost, and I came from Fortune 500, so I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of all the great minds and so forth. But when you look at it from a cost standpoint, you're putting yourself in the area of a tax accountant, a financial advisor, et cetera, rather than, and especially in business, but use the word investment or some other word that makes them think about they're improving themselves, it's for their benefit, and always talk about the results. What are the results that you're getting for your customers? If you don't focus on results, then you're losing the battle there, because nobody pays for anything unless you're able to get them results. So if you know you can get results for people, you have to focus on the results. And part of the focusing on the results is offer your story. You did a pretty good job of talking about the startup, but put more energy and emotion in that. If you had a group of investors sitting around the table and they heard you speak, it's a great opportunity, but I don't see the emotion coming through when you were presenting to us. So make sure you do that. And that's all I'll say about that for now.
Thank you very much. Moving on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Moving on. We have a second speaker. And our next speaker has been a Toastmaster for nearly 4 months. She's working on the Icebreaker project from the Pathways program, where her path is motivational strategies. Over the next 4 to 6 minutes, Suzanne will give us an icebreaker speech titled, I Am Unapologetically and Fabulously Me. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Suzanne Vanderburg.
Hi, good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you. Tell me something about yourself. What do you do? Does this sound familiar? It's almost like the same conversation at a different location with different people, but it's still the same conversation. When I go to a networking event, or when you go to a networking event, do you have a goal in mind? What bothers me is that when I go to a networking event, people have the ulterior motive of selling me something. Oh, darn, you know? Don't you just hate that? Doesn't that bother you, or does it only bother me? What you would have to recognize is I am somebody who comes with disclaimers. You'd be like, a what? A disclaimer, disclaimers. Today, I'm going to share with you 4 disclaimers that I have. So number 1, approach with caution, because I might seem like I might not speak up, or I'm quiet. I might reserve my opinions, but, I might say the wrong thing at the wrong time and offend you, and you might not like me anymore. Disclaimer number 2, do not ask me to discuss anything with you over lunch or dinner. The reason being is it's rude to have your mouth full and talk to me about business. And secondly, if I do say something funny, I do know CPR, but I'm not very good with it. So I might ask the next guy to help you. And if I do try CPR and it doesn't work, I might not be able to help you perfectly. So that's me. That's me. I try to be fabulous, but that's just me. Disclaimer number 3. My goodness, doesn't this stop? How many disclaimers does this woman have, right? You might be wondering. Well, this is, I guess, is more of an admission versus a disclaimer. So if I were to invite you to my house for dinner or whatever, do not be offended if I do not cook for you. Be grateful, because I'll tell you what happened recently. I have 5 dogs. What they do is they huddle like people on the football field before a game, and they form a blockade, and they'll follow me to make sure I do not get to the stovetop. And the reason for that is because recently my husband was ill, so I thought I'll be helpful and make dinner. So what I did was I grabbed 2 packs of pot stickers from the freezer, and I followed the instructions. I thought, wow, this looks really good. I'm gonna do a great job because I'll follow the instructions. And what I did was, it said to boil the water, I think 5 minutes, or was it 10? But anyway, I just dumped it all into the pot of water when it was boiling, and I let it boil for, I think 5 or maybe 8. I can't remember. When it looks like it was ready to come out of the pot, I did that. For part of it, I put into another pot with some broth. And then the other part, I thought, I'll just fry this, because it would taste so much better. I love fried pot stickers. So I did that, and I was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't taste right. Maybe I messed it up, or was it already like that before I touched it? So I don't know. I served it to the kids, and the kids were like, thanks, Mom. And then I tried to serve it to the dog, and dogs, they ran away. So my husband tried to serve the pot stickers to the dogs for, oh my goodness, I think 2 days. And they refused. They even hid from him for a while. And of course, they avoided me. It's like, there she comes again. Don't let her next to the stove. Don't let her close to the stove. So after 2 days of trying to serve the pot stickers to the dogs, my husband secretly went out the back door and tossed everything in the garbage can. So I was like, okay, I see what's going on. So do not be offended if I do not cook for you, because that's just me. I try to stay fabulous, but I just cannot cook. So disclaimer number 4, people say, hey, how many kids do you have? I said, well, I only have 5. So I guess when they see me the next time, they say, how are your 10 kids or 40 kids? I'm like, so funny. They're doing fine. Thank you for asking. And, but what's tricky about kids is that nothing is the same without kids. House gets so quiet, and then nobody's running around. TV shows are not running. You can't see anybody playing in front of the computers. And it's like, where are the kids, right? And they're not around. And it gets trickier when we go on road trips, because I have to count. It's like, how many, do we have 5 in the car? So sometimes they're hiding. So I feel like, man, we lost somebody. And then it gets trickier too when we have to have dogs with us. So now I'm counting 5 kids, 5 dogs, everybody in the car. Oh yeah, it's a really full car. But that's me. That's me and my family. And we try to stay fabulous as much as we can. I'm also, so back to, aside from all the disclaimers, let's just say a few good things about me. I really enjoy working. So in a sense, I'm a hard worker. But you probably hear that a lot from a lot of people saying, I'm a really hard worker, right? But I truly am. I love working. And that's just me. To make it clear, I'm Susan Vandenberg. I am unapologetically and fabulously me. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And it's great to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll take 3 rapid fire feedback for Susan. Comments, questions, whatever form of feedback, 1 minute each. We'll just go around. Anybody wowed by the glimpse? That's just a glimpse. If you're wowed by what she said, I can tell that Susan has many parts to her, much more than she was able to share in 5 minutes. So Yes, Ray.
Thank you, Tommy. Suzanne, thank you for that presentation. You have great camera or stage presence. I would have fun with that even more. You have a way with your humor that if you just enjoyed it even more and just accentuated it and actually exaggerated it so that we can really lean into it and incorporate that humor that you've got. It's there, it's built in, it's almost automatic with you. And that is one of your greatest assets, I believe, is that that inner joy that you have, it just exudes, it comes out. I would accentuate it and even have more fun with it. It would come out stronger, it would be refined, and there'd be even more clarity with that. So thank you so much, Susan, for sharing that with us, and please continue that great work that you do.
Thanks a lot, Ray. Yeah. Charles, I see your hand up.
Susan, it was great meeting you. I have a question for you, so unmute yourself. Susan, unmute yourself, please.
You're still muted. Yeah.
Sorry, I have like 3 microphones here. Good morning.
It was great meeting you. Learned a lot about you, and as Ray said, your humor is fantastic.
Thank you.
Were you nervous?
You know, my problem was I was trying to stand because I was preparing as though I was at a competition standing. And the problem with me standing is I wasn't really standing. I was like, sort of crouching. And then it got really hot in here because I forgot to turn on the fan. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I guess in a sense I was nervous, but then not really, because I did prepare my icebreaker and I ad-libbed along the way. I didn't really follow a script. I just covered the main points. And I thought I had 7 minutes. So towards the end, I saw the red on the screen. I'm, darn, time's up. So I just said, oh, no, I'm just a hard worker.
I think you clarified for me the question I had when you said you were crouching. One of the challenges when you are on camera is being stationary.
Yes.
And you were kind of up and down the whole time, but fantastic information.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Talk of someone taking stock of kids or dogs or past skills of our life. Thank you for modeling that. All right, the moment you've been waiting for, where you get to participate more than just sit back and listen and give feedback. I will move on to Charles Radley. He is our table topics, and we don't call it table topics, right? It's entrepreneur table topics. And he will kick us off on that. Charles.
I would like to start off with a thought that I saw from my friend Carl Dameron, who runs a company in the Inland Empire, a promotional company. He's run it well for years. But he recently posted, and there's a picture involved with a shopping cart. It says, I don't know any successful person who leaves their cart in the middle of the parking lot. He says, if you're too big to do the small things, then you're too small to do the big things. With that as food for thought, Randy, your company is Envision. With your company, do you as the head of Envision have your own personal mission statement? If so, what is it? If not, what would it be?
That's a great question. You know, coming from Fortune 500 companies, I think I loved April's laying it out on the line. I like to keep things really simple. Spent years in Fortune 500 companies doing mission statements, vision statements, you name it. So I'm going to answer the question, and I keep it, you notice in the back, you might see boards. I have a vision board, I have a whiteboard, I have another whiteboard over here, which you can't see. And right in front of me is my main thing, my reminder of, and I think it encapsulates everything. So when you ask me that question, here's the answer. I help people create the courage to get unstuck and envision their success so they can actually go live it. When I think about what you said about envision, It's envisioned success, and it encapsulates everything that I'm about and everything that I've studied and learned and tried to do in my business over the last 150 years. So it's all about, for me, adding value to people's lives in whatever capacity and however they define success. So that's the answer to the question.
Fantastic. For those of you who do not have a personal mission statement, I'd suggest that you go online to stephencovey.org, and there's a mission statement builder. It's very important that you have your own mission statement. Dr. Parker, what marketing tactics do you find most effective for reaching new customers?
I honestly speaking, I'm all over social media, but most of my contacts come from when I speak at some event. So networking and speaking still is the most important because people get to actually see and hear you, and they can ask questions. That does not take away from social media. You still need to be out there because it still brings in people. Sometimes they have to watch you for a while before they decide they want to take a chance on you. So for me, the courage that it took me to go on social media was astounding. And I'm still working on the Facebook Live. I don't understand why I'm having a problem with Facebook Live because I do videos all the time, but I do those in the privacy of my place. And then I post them on Facebook Live. I make a mistake. I do something silly. I can't take it back. It's been seen and it's there forever. So I'm still working on the courage to do the Facebook Live. But yes, getting out there speaking is your #1 resource for marketing. Thank you for that question, Charles.
You are so welcome. Susan, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Susan, who do you look forward to for advice?
Good question. Who would I look for? There's so many people, and I keep seeing the same message. The first 5 people who are on your list daily are the ones that influence you the most. And I keep counting aside from my 5 kids and I can't really ask them for advice. I ask my husband. He's usually the one who gives me the truth. If it's good or bad, he'll just be there and give me whatever I'm asking. It's the advice. Second, I do call my father sometimes, but he's more of a soothing kind of guy. You know, I just tell him, hey, this is what's happening with my life. And he says, yeah, keep going. That's his advice for me. Keep going. The third is I do have business associates, and then they sort the 3 slots, I guess, 3 of the 5 slots sort of switch in and out depending on who they are. So I had at one time called Randy Powell. So thank you, Randy. He's like the voice behind my voice. I feel like the powerful, the source behind my voice. And then I've also spoken with our president, Roz. So thank you. Bond, he's also one of my go-to guys because his speeches are so inspirational. I actually quoted one of his speeches in my recent book, which is also a bestseller. Yay! So thank you. I really, everybody that I associate with, I do soak up some kind of inspiration from everyone. So all of you, but it just rotates in and out, But the top 2 are already taken.
Okay.
So thank you.
Deborah Gillis, when did you know you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
Thank you, Charles, for that question. At this point, I am not an entrepreneur. In my sight, that I'm not. I have not put a vision together to be an entrepreneur. So my answer to that is that I'm listening and learning through this club. through everyone around me, including April Gillis, if I want to partake on that, being an entrepreneur. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and I volunteer at my church, a nonprofit organization, for many years. So to put all of those things in place, I would need to sit down and put it in writing. As April said, put pen to paper, and to see if any of that would bring me to an entrepreneurship. So I am growing in this club to consider whether I would be a good entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, in fact. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. One last question. I'll throw this out to Ernie. Ernie, what does a typical day look like for you as an entrepreneur?
Thank you for that question. I really like the last question. I would like to answer that one. No, I won't do that. I'll jump off target. But a typical day in the life of Professor Silvers starts off quite early, 3:45 a.m., where I run through my morning routine to prepare for my day. Zooms can start as early as 7 a.m. And run until noon, where I grab lunch quickly and then off to school on most days. Interacting with students. The question earlier was, who are your advisors? I gain information and advice from almost everybody I run into every day, from students to faculty to associates. So I have meetings all day long, then I teach twice a week. It is craziness, 200 miles an hour until 5 o'clock, and then it stopped for that long drive home, an hour it takes to get from campus to home. So most days are quite busy, quite hectic. I like it that way. There is a concern that Professor Silvers won't be able to retire gracefully because he can't slow down. At one particular time, I held two full-time jobs, that of a CEO as well as a full-time faculty member, MBA director. So keeping busy is what I do. I'm known as the instigator. If I can't find something to do, I create something to do, and I generate activity for myself as well as others. So every day is a busy day with big smiles and lots of laughs. Thank you. Charles, back to you.
Thank you for that input. I will use some of your comments in the class I'll be facilitating tomorrow on time management, because time management is key for entrepreneurs.
I got none.
Back over to you, the residing president today.
Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you. And thank you to all those who answered the question. This is how we learn. We pick things from everyone. And now I will pass it on to Randy Powell, who is our general evaluator for this meeting. He's been taking notes mentally and on his paper, I guess.
I got too many pieces of paper here. Okay, I'm going to run through this really quick. And if I talk too fast, it's recorded anyhow. We started on time at 7 a.m. Bond did an absolute phenomenal job of describing the new organization in terms of the agenda for the overall club meetings. And I want to say that the theme, taking stock, is awesome by Tomi. We have a well-organized club based on many of the clubs that I've seen over the years. Key word that I picked up right away was gratitude. And I really appreciated the silent moment where some spoke and some were quiet. And that's something that, you know, in your daily morning routine, I profess this a lot with my clients. You have to have a routine, and it usually should be done in the morning, where you're giving thanks and so forth. And we each have different ones, so I won't go into that, but you should have that. If you don't, think about it. Introduced the timer right on time, and then we went right into the first speaker, April. And April did a wonderful job of talking about her business and explaining it. And we got a lot of comments on that, so I won't go into that. But one of the things I want to mention is making sure that we remind April that she needs to make sure she's very clear on the results and what she's offering for each of those levels of packages, whether it's a low-level package, a medium package, or hourly rate, or whatever. Results. And don't use the word cost. That's my caution. Susan Vandenberg with her icebreaker. Awesome, awesome. And I wrote in big words here, nerves? I wasn't really sure. And it's funny that Charles brought that up because I was wondering, okay, was she nervous, or is that her style of speaking, or is it just, hey, this is my first time? And it's not really her first time, but it's her first time doing a formal icebreaker. So that was really fun to watch her kind of squiggle a little bit and get it out, but yet have some humor in there. And I wasn't sure if she was sitting on something, sliding off the chair, ducking down a little bit to hide from us. I wasn't sure if one of the dogs was nibbling at her, but it was all fun to hear about the 4 disclaimers. I never heard anyone come from that angle when they're introducing themselves. So I'm going to always see her and see the disclaimers. And then overall, I think I already said, overall, the meeting was well organized. The table topics were awesome. Charles asked us to really, well, first of all, I had to think about, and I hope you did too, am I putting those carts away properly? And sometimes I have to admit, I put the cart up on the curb, but I get it out of the way of the cars because some places you can't find where they're putting these carts. And sometimes you have to walk all the way back to the entrance of the store, which I do that too. So now I'm going to be very self-conscious. Am I making sure that I'm putting the carts away? So that was awesome. He asked some great questions, and the questions that Charles asked made us think. If it didn't make you think, I have a small brain that made me think. So overall, well organized, fun, generated a lot of learning, and I hope that you guys took something from it. So I know I did. Thank you very much. Back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Randy. That's a good summary of our meeting. And Juana, do you want to give us the timers report? How did we do? The speakers, especially.
Yes, we have lots of good times. With April Gillis, I timed her speaking portion at 6 minutes 12. The question and answer, I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be 8 to 10 or 10 to 12, but it was 8 minutes and 47 seconds, so it's within that 8 to 10 time frame. We also have second speaker at 6 minutes 14 seconds, which is 16 seconds within the proper time frame. And the general evaluator is 3 minutes 17 seconds, so it's 17 seconds into the green. For table topics, Deborah Gillis, 1 minute 6 seconds. Susan, 1 minute 48 seconds. Ernie, 1 minute 40 seconds. And Randy, 1 minute 9 seconds. Everybody passes their test.
Thank you very much, Juana. Thank you for being diligent and faithful with your assignment this morning. And so as I wrap up, it's been a pleasure serving as your Toastmaster today. Consistent with that theme, taking stock. I saw this proverb 2 days ago, and it set me on my course of how am I doing? And I leave it with you. I hope nobody is doing this. I hope nobody has done this. I hope nobody has this mindset. When we set goals, may you have the courage to follow through on your goals. May you have the courage to persist through challenges and obstacles and outlast them to achieve your goals. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the month of this first quarter. And as you take stock, may you find things to be happy about. Back to you, Madam President.
Let's give Tommy a round of applause. Thank you so much for being an amazing Toastmaster of the day. And thank you to all the members and guests who have attended. We are running just a couple of minutes over, but I would like to ask if there are any comments from any guests. Just unmute your audio and tell us 30 seconds or less what you thought about today's meeting. How about Jocelyn? Is she still here? Jocelyn?
Yes, I'm still here. Hello.
Right.
First of all, good morning, everybody. And secondly, I'd like to say that I really enjoyed the table topics this time. I always take notes whenever I can visit. And, you know, even though I am not answering the question myself, I like to write them down. I use them as journal topics. And as we talked about how to start your day as an entrepreneur, I always start by writing. I think that it can really activate the mind. So having those table topics to talk about, even just to myself, is really reassuring. And I think that we can all take away from those table topics. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jocelyn. How about Melissa Chen? Did I say that correct?
Yes, Melissa Chen. Yeah, first, this is my first time. I just moved in Riverside a year ago, so I'm learning. And thank you for, you know, at least I got to have a startup on how you do this.
Yes, very good. And thanks for reaching out to us and attending today. We hope to see you again soon.
I will.
What about Nicolette? Is she still here? I think she may have left. Dr. Lawana, any comments? As our guest and hopefully soon to be member.
The meeting, as usual, was great. I always learn when I listen to the speakers and the table topics as well. And yes, I will be joining next month. It'll be a great way to start my new year because my birthday is next month.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Is Kiana here? Kiana? Maybe she had to
Kiana and
leave.
Nicolette had to drop off for work, but they're my guests, so I'll continue to follow up with them and invite them to come back again.
Thank you so much, April. Ernie is a guest, soon to be
Ernie
member.
is a guest, soon to be member. I have I should be faxing or emailing that application over very soon. I want to comment. I've been to this group a couple times now. I love this group. I love how this group is serious. I love how this group has fun. I love how this group is honest. I'm a fan of the Southwest model of doing serious work while having fun, or having fun doing serious work. And this group reminds me of that. Even though we're on Zoom, which I hate, by the way, this group does an amazing job on Zoom. Living a good portion of my life on Zoom. I appreciate a good group. So God bless all of you for being a good group on Zoom, because I sit through many groups that aren't that good. So I appreciate that. Dr. Lawana, I laughed my fanny off at you. I was with you the whole way. Susan, I enjoyed your little bout with standing or sitting. I've done that myself, though nobody called me out on it, thank God. And April, you were just amazing. I loved your chat as well. So thank all of you for being so nice to me and let me hang around. And good group. Randy, I still have to catch up with you, brother, and that's going to happen. But busy people are hard to catch, which we all are. So I like this place, and I plan on joining and coming back. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ernie. Wonderful. Now, we are a few minutes over our time because we're having so much fun. And I think that sometimes we need to go over time, even though we like to start on time and end on time. So those who have to leave or have already left, we definitely understand. I see Charles has his hand up.
Yes, I put in the chat the StephenCovey.com. If you go to that site, click on resources, they have a mission statement builder for those of you who do not have a personal mission statement.
Okay. Very good. Thanks for the resource, Charles, and all the resources that everyone has provided today. We enjoy bringing this club to you. We are excited about the new meeting rotation Thank you, Randy, again for making some suggestions to us, and Bon for putting out an excellent flyer. Promote our club, share your experience, and let's talk again in 2 weeks so that we could maybe put all of this together, because we might be, since March has a 5th Wednesday, have a mastermind session. And one of our members, Susan Vanderberg, has indicated she is interested in doing that.